Hello, welcome to this video. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sharing this now moment with me and myself and I and one another. I'm not going to be looking at the camera that much. I am obviously driving. Get a lot of activations and downloads, and I'm just going to go into a little flow and see what comes through. So if you haven't seen these videos before, welcome, and welcome back if you have. Getting distracted. I'm seeing references to hell and karma. And I gotta go into a little bit of flow on this. There are many who are trapped into pain loops. Pain loops and karmic cycles. Karmic cycles that are actually I'm hearing dissolving. So what they're showing me is that people are making it more complicated than it needs to be. And sometimes it's easier to get out of the karmic cycles than we realize. The karmic contracts and vows that many of us we've made while we were asleep. Now that we are awake, we are quickly changing those timelines, those frequency patterns. And as they show up for us to then be dissolved, we come into a higher knowing of what we are dissolving. I'm hearing what our purpose is. I'm seeing porpoises. So now I'm in this funny flow. We're learning more about what our purpose is, our porpoises. So I'm seeing a reference to bottlenose dolphins, and I'm hearing bottleneck. So what I'm seeing is a lot of people are getting blocked up in their communication because they're telling themselves things like, and by the way, I have a couple light worker starseeds that I've been connecting with over Instagram, and I don't know if it was Kate from Scientia or if it was Liz Franco or if it was Saskia Healing Art, and I always confuse them, so apologies ladies if I'm mistaking your names. I'll share them on this channel. Or Candace, Love Essence, 144. 144 Love Essence. But what somebody had mentioned was they were seeing a reference to karma being done. The way that we have operated in and with karma is different. It's changed. And I have been feeling that as well. And so I'm going to go back into that flow. They're showing me these bottlenose. So what's happening is we have these communications that are going on, but we, not everybody, but I'm just using this as an example, we are getting stuck in certain patterns. They're showing me dolphins. Dolphins and whales have been coming through a lot, by the way, and they're using that as an analogy because even the word dolphin and whale and even the visualization of them can assist people sometimes in activating and breaking up patterns. So even the visualization of dolphins, how they communicate, being in water, bubbles, sonar, little clicks and sounds that are activating. So all of these things can assist us, but they're using it as a metaphor. And essentially, the idea that we have this ability to essentially cleanse ourselves and be free from a lot of the karmic cycles that we're entrapping ourselves in. So they're using an example of when I've had somebody say, I know that I'm obligated to this because of my karma. But is that the truth? Is that real? The karma that was accrued in the past, it's like saying, I know that I am going to have fill in the blanks cancer because my grandma did, or I'm going to have this because my grandparents or my father did. And what that does is that essentially traps you a little bit in that cycle. It kind of puts you in that belief that therefore it must be. So what they're kind of showing is that's different now. Things have changed. They've been changing. So many of us are putting ourselves in this situation by creating and recreating our own karmic cycles and patterns. So get out of the patterns and the karma won't be there. We won't. So hell, basically what they're kind of showing me is that hell is our own creation. So the more we believe in something, the more we believe we deserve something or don't deserve something. And that can be negative too. Like, I don't deserve love. I don't deserve money. Whatever it is, fill in the blanks. What happens is that creates our own hell. And be aware of that. Be aware that if we don't want to have these karmic contracts, make the statement, I clear this contract with whatever it is, fill in the blank, and operate from that point forward in the direction of sovereignty and love, and do things, do good, do unto others. And oftentimes it's the patterns that we're going through that are recreating the lifestyles, the obligations, the contracts. It's almost like people didn't realize that their karma was done, and then they go and renew the contract and didn't realize that they could have gotten out of it, because now they are telling themselves, I have to do this. So that's interesting. I find this interesting, at least. Our patterns, our repeat patterns, our cognizant. So they're kind of showing me like our thinking patterns, our thought patterns, our subconsciousness oftentimes is what's taking the wheel. And they're using wheel as an example of a karmic wheel. So are we driving the wheel, or is our subconscious and our patterns and our habits driving the wheel? We're being invited to take our power back. And I'm also seeing this reference to Wheel of Fortune. So it's like some people are stuck on that karmic wheel and they don't feel like they have that ability to change their fortune, right? And they're showing me that it's got a new spin to it. So I'm just kind of going into a little bit of flow about this. As we break free from these chains of unconscious, subconscious programming, we recognize that these patterns were oftentimes misdirected. They're showing me a little bit like a lot of it was misdirected. Like it was somebody else directing the movie. I'm going to talk about this a little bit because I can see this link, and what it is it's almost like you guys know how the internet works and how phishing and cookies and all that works, and they take your information and they sell it to companies. But kind of what they're showing is that it's almost like a psychological warfare. So quite frequently, many people were duped into some of those karmic contracts. And because those energies are no longer able to hold water, like they are no longer, it's hard to put into words what I'm seeing and what's being kind of shown to me right now. Sorry. Do you guys ever drive? Well, of course you drive, and you go past someone and you're pretty sure they must be turning because there's no way they could possibly be going 20 miles per hour under the speed limit. So who's driving that car, right? So essentially what they're showing me is a lot of this stuff, because certain systems are no longer able to stay in the program, some of it, it's not like it's being erased, but some of it, that's kind of what it looks like to me. And I can't explain it other than that right now as I drive, but maybe I'll go into it a little deeper in meditation. But the gist of the message is, be aware of what we're telling ourselves. Be aware of the trappings that we are continually stepping back into. Because if things are being erased, so to speak, we don't need to go back in. Have you ever had a conversation with someone and you're like, yeah, that was a great conversation. And then at the last minute, you just add something that you didn't really need to add. And it kind of, all of a sudden, like, you didn't need to go there. I've done this quite a few times. I still do it from time to time. But you didn't even need to go there, and it kind of like diluted the whole message that you just shared. But they're kind of showing like, learn that it's okay just to walk away and be like, I don't need to figure this out, right? I'm not obligated to fulfill this something that I think I need to fulfill. It's, yeah, you know, in some cases we do, but oftentimes, is this because it's a belief system that I've created within my structure? Is this a habit pattern? Have I been telling myself that, well, I have to do this because it's in my DNA, you know, or whatever it might be. What they're showing me is, no, you don't. Just because you think you do doesn't mean that you have to, right? It's your belief structure. It's our belief structure. It's what are we telling ourselves? What are we telling our bodies? What are we telling our, I'm parked obviously so I can look at the camera, but where is this story coming from? Is this something that we have been led to believe because of things that we've read, things that we have been taught as children? And all of that is basically being shaken up, which means our belief about ourselves and coming back into our own sovereignty, which means if there's something that we know, beware of the words that we're telling ourselves, is basically what they're saying. Clear, dissolve, regroup, remove, regroup, and get more in alignment with the truth of where we are now, in this now moment, and not necessarily where we think we have to be based on some television show, parental guidance, story that we've heard, story that we've been rerunning in our own mind over and over and over again, thought patterns in the collective, what we see in the news. I could just keep going because they're kind of showing me that once we cut that cycle, that's it. So I'm just leaving it on this note because I know this was just a short and sweet video just about what I was seeing. You guys, I was seeing like literally the word karma written on a car on the way here. And so I had also gotten a message that that was something else I should be looking into. So I know that this is a big topic for a lot of people right now. So I hope somebody out there, my intention is that somebody out there goes, whew, thank goodness, that feels good, this resonates. So in love and light, guys, namaste.